A blessed day to you, all my sports to the bone people. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you all for checking this video out. Now, I am going to be raising some question in this video just to engage the listeners. I will be in the comment section checking out what you guys have to say on a couple of things that I will be speaking on. Now, shortly after the first test between West Indies and Australia finished, I received a message on Instagram from a supporter, somebody that is always reaching out to me and talking about cricket. And the question that he asked was, seeing that Shamar Joseph would have made his debut and proved to be effective in a test match, should CWI consider relaxing their rules or their requirements for players to qualify to play test cricket? And I had to think about it, my people. I had to think about it because there are several players that would have indicated that they want to play test cricket and they are willing to play test cricket. But we would have heard people going on record to say, listen, it is difficult to go back and play the 4-day regional championship when they are busy or when they have a busy schedule all over the place. So we're going to explore it. While you're listening, feel free to leave a like on the video and to share the video. All right. So based on what I'm seeing here now, my people, Shamar Joseph, he has 6 first-class games. And I'm assuming they are counting the warm-up game there from the other day. So Shamar Joseph went up against Australia, took a 5-wicket haul and looked good. 2 years ago, this dream, he had no idea he would have achieved something like this. You know, 2 years ago, he had no idea he would have achieved something like this. Man gave up his job as a security and pursued cricket full time, got recruited into the Guyana team. You know, the Guyana Amazon Warriors sent for him the last CPL to replace a player that was injured, and they went on to win the CPL title. Fast forward to January 2023. He's in the West Indies test team. And he hasn't played a lot of first-class game. But one thing we have seen is pace, accuracy, determination, drive, and hunger. So I am assuming that is why my friend would have reached out and asked if CWI should relax the rule so that other players that would probably want to play a couple of test matches but don't want to go back to play too much first-class game, if they should relax it. Now, in the past, we would have seen players like Jaden Seals coming from the under-19 team, and CWI would have seen him as a prospect, as a talented player, and they brought him in. Same thing for Fidel Edwards, right? These guys had little to no experience, not a lot of experience, you know, playing what you would call good competitive cricket. Brian Lara tells the story of Fidel Edwards bowling in the nets to him. And, you know, he would have said, listen, this guy needs to get an opportunity. Marlon Samuels, and the list goes on. A lot of these players would have shown that they have the quality, they have the skill set, whether it's coming up from under 19 or, you know, whatever level of cricket, club cricket coming up, and they would have shown that CW selectors would have spotted them and said, listen, these guys look good enough, and they bring them in. And a couple of them, as I said, would have gone on to play test cricket or ODI cricket or T20 without playing a lot of regional cricket. So my question now, with the T20 being a fast pace, a fast growing game, with players going all over the place to play T20, but still expressing that they would play test cricket. Should CWI look to relax the rules? Brandon King keeps on saying that he wants to play. Nicholas Pooran indicated that he would love to play test cricket, even though he's focusing on the white ball cricket. Right? Jason Holler claims that he still wants to play test cricket. But we all see what the issue is. The players are going to go where they can be properly compensated. So, with having to compete with that, should the CWI personnel say, listen, we have the regional tournament still going, so we can keep spitting out cricketers, we can keep building cricketers. But should we go ahead and select players that are showing good technique, performing in ODIs mostly, not really T20, and say, let us give them an opportunity to play test cricket? We would have seen them trying that with Brandon King. He was given I think it was a series game, a series tour, because they want to reel him into tests. Right? Didn't work out too well. He said that he wants to keep preparing for the T20 World Cup also, so he didn't go to Australia. So when the World Cup comes and goes, should CWI look to say, listen, we know that you guys will be picking up contracts all over and you will not be able to play much of the 4-day regional championship, but we are willing to say, play 1, play 2, and based on the fact that you are playing ODI cricket and you are doing reasonably well, we will try to get you into the team, notwithstanding how well you would have performed in those 2 or 3 or 1 first class or 4-day game that you would have played. Should the West Indies selectors look to go that route, so as to bring in back people like Jason Holler, Brandon King, and I'm sure there are going to be youngsters coming up that they would want to bring in also. Should CWI look to do that, so they can get people like Nicholas Pooran, Shamar Joseph to play some test cricket? That's the first question there. The next question: what would happen to the players that are in the first class system, working hard, playing all the games and putting up the numbers and working to get into the test team? What would happen when they realize that players from the ODI team just come and play 1 or 2 for regional 4-day games, but because the selectors want to give them a shot in, they say, listen, just play 1 or 2, and then based on how you're doing in ODI, we will roll you over? What would happen? Do you all think that would be a good way to try and sustain an already dying 4-day regional system? What is the answer to that? What is going to happen when we see players going out there as youngsters? What would be the message we are sending if we see players going out there and putting in the work, and when they look, somebody that is playing T20 or ODI, but because the selectors believe they have the ability, they just play 1 4-day game and then they automatically get a space in that format of the game, even though as a youngster coming up, you would have dedicated your time to play all the 4-day regional championship games. How would that go? How would you then convince that youngster that this is serious and you still can make it into the West Indies senior team? How would you convince a youngster with something like that? That's another question. Right? Another thing that we need to look at: how are we going to prevent the players, when they come back to play a 1 or 2 test series, to say, oh, we're going to prevent them from saying, listen, yeah, we're going to play this series, but we're not too sure about next series, because it's a ongoing thing where we're still not fully committed. How we going to prevent that? Then it's as if we would be back to square one, where we would have to go back and try and convince the youngsters in the 4-day regional championship to say, yeah man, keep playing, you're a part of the future. When we would have already shown them that we are willing to take the guys that are traveling all over to play franchise cricket, to pack them in test team, because we think that they are going to save us, quote unquote save us. How would that work? There are a whole lot of questions that we could ask with something like this. So my short answer to whether or not CWI should allow players to just come in with to players that they identify to just come into the test team without spending the time to develop or to bring their craft to a certain level. My short answer is you let the players play the little 4-day tournament, show that they are capable, and then you step them up. The next part of that answer is you're going to have the 1 or 2 players that would be exception. It's not favoritism, but you are going to identify players that you will be like, well, this man is at a certain level. I think I want him around the front. I want him around the first team. Right? He's bowling at a 140, 139. The control is not fully there. We're not playing a lot of test cricket, but guess what? We're always in camp. Keep him around the first team. We can monitor him closely. And when the test team is not playing, then you allow him to play the 4-day regional championship. Similarly to how they brought in Jaden Seals into the team. Shamar Joseph, I am sure once we are not, there is no, well, I'm not sure. Once there is not test going on, you would assume he's going to go back and still put in the hard work in the 4-day regional championship. What we need to do is to try and find a way to convince these youngsters when they come through and we see them that, the development needs to continue. They might come in and play a 1 or 2 series for West Indies and people go and see them and try to rope them in. But if we can't find a way to keep them playing some red ball cricket to learn how to bowl, that is going to be a problem. I have spoken on this channel several times about our cricketers, especially pace bowlers, coming through, showing good pace, showing good bounce, and they don't learn how to bowl. The same thing, in my opinion, happened to O'Shane Thomas. We see it with Odin Smith. These guys, they come in with the pace, but in my opinion, they need to spend the time and learn how to put a spell together, how to bowl 4 overs, 5 overs, take a break, come back, bowl 6 overs. I remember seeing an interview last year with Odin on Sportsmax saying that, he's not sure if he could bowl whatever amount of overs. You understand? It's because the body is now is in their 20s. They are training to play to bowl 4 overs in a match. So sometimes when you see the exciting players coming through, because the system is so weak and we don't have strong players at the top, we end up fast track these players and they don't get fully developed. So then they go to the international team. They don't see much from them, and then they get kicked out the team and probably kick out at 21, 22, and you don't see them back until they are 30, 31. You hear that, they are late bloomers. And it's not necessarily late bloomers, it's just mismanagement. So I want you all to tell me in the comment section, my people, should CWI look to use Shamar Joseph's wave to say we really and truly need to, people have been saying it, that they need to step it up. They need to find a way to, not even compete, because you can't compete with what franchise is playing the players. But should they finally relax their rules to say, if a man is playing well in ODI and we want him in the test team, in order to make sure that the 4-day championship system is still going and people still trust the process, should we just say, listen, we're going to give you a slot, we're going to give you a shot in the test, but we need a one game? Would it be unreasonable to ask the player to at least sacrifice and play one? Or would it be unreasonable to ask the first class teams, the regional teams, to take in a man and just play him in one game? Right? And then he's gone and then you have to look to replace him. Would that be unreasonable? Then again, we could roll it back and listen what the selector, what Darren Sammy said, that they are aiming towards one goal. So that brings me back to a question that I asked a few months ago. Are all the boards from the different countries or the different islands together? Are they all going for the same objective? Or is it a case where everybody is trying to win a regional title, everybody is trying to win a Super 50 title? Brandon King, Hetmeyer, Puran, for argument's sake, CWI convinced these guys that they will give them, if they really and truly want to play a test, go and play a 4-day game or a 2-game and come. What would the other team, what would the regional teams do? Obviously, they're going to be happy to have the quality of those guys in there, but what about the guys that would have worked to get into that team? How would you work it out? It would depend on how the information is going down from the board. So that is why I asked, is it possible for the boards of the different territories to really be on board with what Darren Sammy is saying, where they are going to tell them what they want, what type of player they want, how they want the players to play, and then they will gear towards that? Or is it a case where these territories will continue to play to win regional cricket? Those are just a couple of questions I wanted to ask in this one. Gonna leave it right here for now. Hope you guys will let me know what you all think. Big up.